A quick summary of how to lay out a grid and pick images for the typology project. And what I've done is photographed the crazy wacky shirts that I'm kind of known for, in case you don't know me. If you've seen me around, you probably have seen some of these. So what I started off by doing is to set up a thumbnail grid of three images wide, so I can kind of get an idea of what will go well next to each other. I have 18 images, which means that I need to pick out the best 9. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to, on the left side here, let me shrink down my folders, I'm going to make a collection. So I'm going to make a collection. I'm just going to call this shirts or crazy shirts. Okay, and by default it put the one that I had already clicked on in there. But if I don't want that, I can hit delete and it will remove it from the collection, but it doesn't delete it from the actual catalog. So I'll go back to all photographs. Oh, goodness. I have to scroll all the way to the end here. There we go. And I'll just kind of start maybe by putting all of these images in that collection by highlighting them all. I clicked on the first one, held down shift, clicked on the last one, and I'll drag them in here. And now I'll only see those shirts. And if I decide that there's one that doesn't belong, or 9, I guess, that don't belong, I can just click off of any of them. Let's see here. Yeah, there we go. And then I can find one that doesn't belong and click on it to remove it. So to start, I should say what I've already done with the images, which is I've gone in and I have just kind of done a quick exposure adjustment and cropped them. So they all kind of started out like this one, where there's the edge of the table here and my legs and the carpet showing. And I went in and just grabbed a crop. In this case, a 1-to-1 cropped seemed to work well, although you should think about what works best for your images. And I just wanted to have a little bit of space on all 4 sides and to try and center it, which, let's see if I can push, yeah, okay. I can push that side over just a little bit and pull this side in a little. All right, so first thing, I should have made sure that they were all had been photographed with a bit more space around them, because I feel like on some of them I'm getting a little too close on the top or the bottom, or that I'm not able to get them perfectly centered. So learn from my mistakes. Make sure that you have a clean background. I actually see some wrinkles in the background, so one of the things I could do is I could darken the background to get rid of that. Let me show you what I would do for that, which would be, oh, I actually haven't done any adjustments on this one yet either, so I'm going to just hit auto, and that actually does a nice job of tweaking the contrast in the shirt. And since I want to make my shadows or my blacks darker, I could just grab my blacks and pull them down. And I actually really like the way that looks, so I'll probably do that on all the images. And honestly, I feel like maybe the highlights could go up a little bit to have the shirt pop just a little bit nicer. But basically, I've gone through and I've cropped them all to be the same crop. That's the most important thing for the typology grid, is you can crop them, but use the same crop and use the same aspect ratio or orientation, I guess. So if they're all verticals, make them all verticals. If they're all horizontals, make them all horizontals, because they'll stand out from the grid if one was very different. Okay, so I'm going to really quick go through and I'm going to sync that setting. So if I click on that image, and I hold shift and I click on all the other images, I can hit sync here, and I've already actually done that with my white balance. So I picked one shirt that was a neutral white and set the white balance based off of that. But what I'm doing here really is I just want to do the blacks to make all of the black backgrounds match. And when I hit synchronize, I'll click on another photo here and hopefully we'll see the change. Okay, no, it's already kind of done it. But it's going to darken down and get rid of the wrinkles in the background once all those changes apply. Okay, back to my library where I had my grid. What I'm thinking I want to do is I want to get rid of anything that feels like it's too similar to other things. So, like, number one, I love this shirt. It's got to stay. This one I think stands out a lot too. Whereas maybe this one is, I mean, it's different because it has a wavy pattern, but maybe it's more boring. Whereas I have two shirts, this one and this one, that are very similar. And in this case, I think I like the red and purple one more than the one that's just purple. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click off and click on just the purple one, and I'll hit delete, and it'll remove it from the collection. I'm going to say the same thing with this one, is it's just not as interesting as some of the others. This one I think is one I really like. I'm going to put stars on it. And put the stars on ones that I really like. So like this one, and this one, and this one. That one's really different, but maybe it's too different. That one. I love this one. I'm going to probably take this one out. Dinosaurs, I'm probably going to take out. Whales, I like. That one I like. That one I like. And that one I like. So now I'm down to 14 images. I still got to take out 5. So now the thing to maybe do is to look at them in a grid format and think about what ones are going to kind of stand out or feel like they're maybe more of a right side, left side pairing, where there's two that are kind of similar that could go similar maybe in function, like pattern. So like this is this frog shirt and this capybara shirt. Maybe they're really good kind of left and right sides because they're both animals to go next to the sharks. So I'll go back to my grid view. And because I have them in a collection here, and only when I have them in a collection, I can go here to sorting, and it'll let me do custom order. And now I can grab one, and I can drag it around and put it in a different spot. So that kind of feels like a good pairing. The other thing I like to do is I like to take shirts that are really bright, or images in general, I should say, that are very bright, and perhaps pull them up to the top. So I'm going to grab this one and bring it up as well. Oh, if it will let me. Come on. Up here. And I'll have to find a third. So maybe this really colorful one. Or if I keep this, I'll keep this one. And I'll pull it up and put it in between those. So now I have really bright, fairly bright, really bright. I think you can kind of get the idea of the pattern going. And from here, I'm going to say I don't like that one as much, and I honestly don't like that one as much, and that one as much. So I'll just make the bottom row really crazy. And I think 1, 2, and 3. And I'll put this one in the middle because it's kind of different than the other two. So that gives me a grid of 9. And as I'm looking at these images, I'm really thinking that photographing them flat was not the right way to go, because they get all sorts of wrinkles and it gets a little distorted at the collar and the armpits. And I probably should photograph them on a hanger or on a mannequin. I don't have a mannequin available, so I'm going to say they should really be reshot on a hanger. Maybe a hanger that would blend into the background, like a black hanger, or something minimalist, like a wire hanger. But that way they would maybe hang more naturally, because they all feel like they kind of get wider at the bottom. Now that might be the way that I photographed them too, because I was photographing and holding the camera maybe over the bottom of the shirt more than centered on the shirt. And that's another important thing, is to be centered on things so they don't get distorted. This is maybe a good opportunity for me to show you all a little bit of something in the develop module, which is under transform here. I've already actually made them skinnier because they all kind of felt really wide when I first put them in. But what I could do is I could do a vertical transformation, which kind of tips it forward or backward. And so if I do something like this, where I tip it forward just a little bit, maybe 10 points, it'll make the bottom a little bit skinnier. Now, I've already set my crop, so I'm probably not going to go through and do this to all of them, but I just want you to be aware that you can kind of distort things to adjust for if your camera position was not quite set right. And you can do the same thing for left, right, but in my case, that's not really relevant. Okay, so if I have my 9 images set and I'm ready to actually take them out of the software, make them into one document, the way that we're going to do that is through the print module. And when I go into the print module, in my case, since I'm working with square images, I want to make a document that is square. So we're going to start always at the very bottom here with our print job. We have to make sure that we have it set to JPEG file. Sharpening low is good, but it's our custom file dimensions that's really important. So in my case, I'm going to just make a square document. I'm used to printing these on 11 by 17 size paper when we're in person, but I'll just type in 11 by 11. That makes my document square. And then I can scroll up to the top here and I can make adjustments. Now, only one image is showing up to start, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit Command A or Control A on a PC, and that will select all 9 of them. By default, you would probably have some margins set in here, and I'm going to just make all my margins 0.25, 0.25, and that will make them fill the page more. You want to make sure you have a 3 by 3 grid, which I've already set up in here, and I'm going to keep spacing between the images of about the same amount, 1/4 inch and 1/4 inch. Guides kind of give you measurements and things like that, but they don't show when you create the file. Under page, we can, there's a way to do an identity plate and photo info, which some people might have done for creating proof sheets. We want to have both of those off. And then, oh, there was one more thing. In my case, since the background of all my images are black, I may want to change my page background color. So instead of it being white, I could make it black. And then that grid sort of disappears, but it lets us focus more on just those 9 images. You can choose other colors like a gray or leave it white, which I believe is the default. But in my case, I think black is going to work the best. When you're done with that, you can do print to file and choose a file location. I'm going to call this project, let's see, it's project 4. I'm going to put my name in it. And I'll go ahead and hit save. Now, the thing that you could do is you could go back once you've made one of these into your library and start rearranging the images and try pulling things around and play with the arrangement and see what composition seems to work best. And go back to our print module, select all again, and you could do print to file. And so you could create like 5 different versions of different arrangements of your finished typology and see which one visually feels like it makes the most sense. So like right now, my eye is really being drawn to this image over here because it's kind of the brightest. And if anything, we want to have sort of a balance left to right. Like maybe the brightest should be in the middle, or you're going to have images that are going to naturally feel like bookends, where there's a lot going on the left side or the right side, or there's maybe like a wall on the right side, in which case it is going to feel like it belongs on the right. Or images that are brighter and have a lot more sky maybe belong on the top, or images that are darker probably down to the bottom. So you should just be kind of thinking about how to rearrange the grid so that it naturally feels the strongest that it possibly can. And that's part of the idea of the work in progress discussion board is that your peers and I will give you our thoughts on it, and you can kind of respond to that and make some changes before you do the final submission. So good luck.